So let's start with this. So a couple days ago, there's a story out there, and everybody says, oh, I'm so happy. Kevin Durant, 2-year deal, didn't take the max money, and everybody's celebrating the contract. Your response is?
Terrible, terrible by Kevin Durant. He is now officially the father of NBA welfare without the cheese. That's where he is, and I'm talking about, Colin, the idea that Kevin Durant, who is the MVP of the finals, has to give up money to keep the team together, to bring the other guys back, Iguodala and
the backup point guard.
And that's Sean Livingston,
yeah.
Right? Steph Curry took his $40 million. You mean to tell me that Kevin Durant needs to help the owner of the Warriors, who's worth $1.5 billion, by taking less money? Why in the world would he take less money and not what he's valued at?
Well, you wouldn't be allowed to do that in baseball.
Well, we already had that. You remember A-Rod was going to go to the Red Sox from Texas. Remember? And he needed to take a pay cut in order to make it happen. What happened? The union stepped in and said, no way, no how are you taking a pay cut, and you're not going to open up this can of worms. You're not going to have owners trying to weasel out of money that you've already guaranteed to sign, right, and take a pay cut. So it didn't happen. He wound up going to the Yankees. The same case here. Now, people might look and try to make Durant as this great guy. Oh, well, Kevin Durant, what a great teammate. He's saving money to bring other guys back and keeping the band together. But Kevin Durant, in reality, has hurt the other big-time players in the league. Now owners are going to come to LeBron James. Oh, LeBron, you got a sneaker contract. You don't need all that money.
Yeah.
Why don't you take less? And other stars. I didn't see now if Steph Curry would have said, hey, you know what? I'll split the difference with you. I'll take $5 million less. You take $5 million less. But did he do that? No, he took his $40 million. Why in the world has Kevin Durant been allowed to be bamboozled and tricked and fooled into this idea that he should be the one giving up money to help a billionaire owner? It makes no sense. And the other thing is, for fans, the Warriors just saved $20 million on the luxury tax. Is that trickled down to fans? Will tickets be cheaper next year, Colin? Will beer be cheaper next year? No, nothing's cheaper. The owner keeps his money, his wealth. The owner keeps the fans still get stuck with the bill, and everybody else gets a raise except Kevin Durant. It makes no sense.
This is actually one of the things why I've very much promoted player mobility, is that when LeBron went to Cleveland, people say, oh, but LeBron is selfish. They're over the salary cap. Dan Gilbert's net worth increased $300 million that day. And then they won the title. It increased $400 million. Is that this is the thing about sports fans. And by the way, sports media, is that we are so hard on the athlete to win championships, take sacrifice. The winner is always the owner. By the way, you do realize that Kevin Durant was drafted by Seattle to a wonderful city, and the owner, who didn't want to chip in, Howard Schultz, who owns Starbucks, has a net worth of $100 billion, didn't want to spend one of it to assist in a stadium.
And instead,
he gets stuck in OKC.
Right, exactly. And this is what people leave out all the time. I think Kevin Durant should rethink this. He should always get what he's worth and stop being the welfare system of trying to help other people. And why? Why? Let the owner pay the $20 million luxury tax. He has money. He's going to San Francisco. They're moving from Oakland, right? Why are they moving, Colin? For money. More money. They're not taking less money to move to Oakland. They're taking more money.
Good point. All right, Dallas Cowboys. 4 players, essentially since Tony Romo left for CBS, it feels like, have been either they've been arrested or suspended. I made the argument early. Tony Romo didn't win enough for Cowboy fans. But you could make the argument that when the owner's a party guy, this is party of us team, and the more they win, the more the owner comes over to the football part of the building, that Dak, despite all his talent and seeming maturity, is 23. It's hard to lead at 23. A 33-year-old veteran player doesn't want to listen to you, and most of your peers are immature. So Dak Prescott is being asked now to lead this team without Tony Romo. Tony Romo had a maturity effect on that locker room, even if he didn't play. So my takeaway on this is the drip, 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 drip to a season of underachievement by Dallas. I think it's something. Do you?
I think that could happen, but I think it's more about those guys having such unbelievable breakout years in Dak and Ezekiel Elliott that they could come back to earth and not be what they were. You know, now that people have tape on them, you know how it is. There's an adjustment.
Tougher.
And the schedule's tougher and the expectations are higher. So I think that could happen where Dallas isn't the team people think they're going to be next year. But I'm not that crazy about the guys who have been arrested. This is the National Football League, and often that F stands for felony, the National Felony League, because go around the rosters and look. A lot of guys have more rap sheets than stat sheets. It's just what it is, and you kind of got to play through it. Does it help that 4 guys from the defense could lose some time or whatnot? No, it doesn't help, but I'm not saying that that's going to be the reason why they win or lose. Those 2 guys, Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, to me are the ones that are going to determine whether or not this happens or not.
By the way, Zeke is 21, Dak is 23. And again, I'm not saying they're immature, but at 21 and 23, with that owner on that team, I do think it's something to keep your eye on.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But I think I still think, and I'm with you. I think you're not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I don't see them.
And Shannon Sharp is saying that they won't make the playoffs. I think he's pretty close that could actually happen because of what happened a year ago. I think Dak is going to have to make an adjustment.
Joey, I was saying earlier, whenever somebody has this meteoric rise, it's usually a convergence of events. Like Tebow, Matt Prater became the hottest kicker in the league. The defense for the Broncos was playing out of its mind. And they played a series of really weak offensive teams. So the games were all like 10-10 late, and then Prater would come on and kick a field goal. It's nothing against Tebow, but they went 8-5 with Tebow and were outscored by 75 points and won 4 overtime games.
Right.
I kind of feel like Dak, it was a convergence of things. Last place schedule, inherits a great O-line. Ezekiel Elliott's even better than we thought. They caught everybody off guard. And in the end, they stayed really, really healthy. Even Sean Lee, who gets hurt a lot, didn't get hurt. Rod Marinelli helped the defense. It's nothing against Dak. I think there was a convergence of positive things for him.
I totally agree. Because I kept waiting for that bubble to burst, and I kept saying that it was a mirage because just everything just was working perfectly, and I thought the other shoe would drop at some point. And they had a great season, and, of course, Aaron Rodgers beat them in the playoffs and whatnot. And he played well in the second half when he came back after the big deficit. But the Cowboys, I'm not that worried about the players arrested to this point. Ezekiel Elliott has some issues, right? There's something that could come down, I think, for him. So I guess that's something to look forward, look at and see what happens there. But I'm leaning towards them not making the playoffs, but not because of the arrest.